Welcome to Redvee TV's Instant Reaction, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2025 season, following Saints' 40-12 defeat here this afternoon against the Salford Red Devils in Morgan Knowles' Testimonial. Kev, we were stood here 12 months ago after defeating Salford 52-10 in a pre-season friendly, and we said then it meant very little. We said in that game that we had increased attacking fluidity, and it was great to see. And look how 2024 turned out.
Yeah, I think we said in our preview for this that the result didn't matter. Are there things out there that you want to improve on? Absolutely there are. But we're still 3 weeks away from Super League starting. The coaching team know that they've got things still to do, and it is a new coaching team in. Obviously, Paul Helens has been there a couple of years now, but having Lee Breers and Freddie O'Carroll in, new to the club, their ideas may take a little bit of time before we see them come to fruition. It was a typical pre-season game where we're throwing bodies out there to go and get some minutes in the legs and the lungs. I'm not reading loads into it.
We saw the team get announced. Obviously, no Jack Wellesby, no Curtis Sirenen, no Alex Walmsley, no Matty Lees, no Ignatius Parsi, no Darryl Clark. All the international players missing, plus Parsi. No Mark Percival. There's 6 or 7 bodies you probably have come into the team. Listen, it's a bit of a hit out for us, and we didn't listen. Did we show anything in that game? Not a lot, but
only bits. So, like, obviously, when you get into the second half, you've got George Whitby who's looking to make things happen. Tristan Sale, a couple of good moments. Unlucky when he broke through the line, and you can see that he's got that in him. And as he kind of gets used to playing over here, and he gets, I don't know, I think he's got confidence, but just gets that little bit more suited to the game over here. We'll see a lot more from him.
And that little ankle tap, he obviously makes the break go through. Apart from that ankle tap, he goes in, probably scores. Yeah. Kyle Felt, big unit. Yeah. George Delaney, good to see him running straight and hard. Noah Stevens did a big stint. Yep. I think he played nearly 50-60 minutes. But it's pre-season. Look how what we said last year and look how we turned out. And I've seen there's been a bit of a meltdown already on social media that same old, not seeing anything different than last season. Do you? If that's the scoreline in 3 weeks' time when we play them, I think the panic buttons start to get pressed. But we won't have that same team. We won't have that same performance. I'm willing to put bets on.
Yeah, I think especially the first half performance when you've got most of your first team in that game. I think if you get that in 3 weeks' time, then you're absolutely right to criticise. You're absolutely right to question. But when it comes to a pre-season game, I think you could win it 80-0 and people would say, well, Salford obviously didn't turn up. What did we learn from it? Or you can get beaten and actually learn some lessons from it. I'm hoping that the coaching staff are going to go away and learn the lessons from it. And they've still got, as I say, 3 weeks to work. Pre-season isn't over yet. 3 weeks to work on getting that right. Salford put out and are forced into putting out pretty much a first team and sticking with them for the majority of the game.
And I think it has to be said, they look very good,
really
good. Yeah. They look like the Salford midway through last year. Yeah. And they obviously got a standard that they're already hitting, and we were playing a little bit of catch up.
Yeah, Salford were well-deserved winners. They were well-deserved winners. Kept on cutting us open down the edges, which I think will be a worry for our coaching staff. Mark Sneed pulling the strings like he can do, and I think he was allowed to. Obviously, in the second half, with that cushion and with it being a friendly game, he can try things. I know there was one that kind of just bounced up and Owen Dagnall could field it. He got a 20-40 as well. So when you've got a general like that who's playing the majority of the game, you're almost expecting and not only a general like that, you've got the first team around him. You're kind of expecting for them to be at a level. It looked like they were a couple of weeks ahead of us pre-season wise, but is that down to the fact that when we played them last year,
they 30 million people, didn't they?
Yeah, it was. They had squad numbers 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Have they just had a much smaller squad to work with in pre-season? Are they just at that level? Interesting to see how we lined up as well today. Harry Robertson playing right centre with Connie on the left. Now, you'd assume if Harry was just filling in for Mark Percival, you'd have had Harry on the left, Connie on the right. That wasn't the case. I wonder whether Harry, there's a potential he starts the season at right centre.
I don't know, because Percy isn't a big... I don't think he's a big worry to be missing the start of the season. I think Percy comes in on the left and
he does.
Connie on the right. No,
do you think Connie goes ahead?
Yeah, I think Connie's ahead of Harry. He did okay today, Harry. I don't think he had necessarily a bad game, but I think he was much more suited to full back and getting into the line and being involved than playing out on the edge, really.
Is it just a case of today, 6-7 bodies missing, players in various positions, and it's a first hit out of the year? Listen, we're still in the middle of pre-season.
Yeah, well, I mean, Salford might say something similar, but for us, yeah, we changed a load of bodies. We named a massive squad for this game. Obviously, as you say, there's a couple who've missed out. But we've gone out and probably got what we wanted out of it fitness-wise, if we haven't got it performance-wise. I maintain what I say, and I think I've been quite steady with this over the years, that I'm not too fussed about a result of a pre-season game. No. It's nice to win them, but I'm not going to start melting down over it.
It's absolutely irrelevant. If it was a pre-season game that wasn't a testimonial for a player, listen, we've got to be able to do this, but I wouldn't turn up. I know it sounds awful. I don't turn up to football pre-season friendlies. I'm not interested. I take no joy, interest in the result. The important thing today was Morgan Knowles got 4,700 on for his testimonial, which was tremendous. And fair credit to Salford, who brought a good few hundred to
noisy contingent
to boo him.
Yeah, yeah, a noisy contingent of Salford fans are good on him. I think. Yeah, they're going to want to be taken over, and they don't want this to be one of the last times that they could potentially see the club in its current guise without all the assets being stripped.
And if they keep that team together, they're top 6 material.
If they can keep that team together and keep them on the park, then absolutely, because they are a joy to watch.
I think the benefit for us from today, though, is seeing what Salford have got for 3 weeks' time and where we need to be in 3 weeks. If we're going to get them 2 points in that first game.
Yeah, I think because Salford are hamstrung by only having a smaller squad, you see a lot of what they've got there. Whereas because we were bringing lads in and making sure people got minutes, so you mentioned like Noah getting massive minutes, Jake Wingfield getting massive minutes. We were just using it, I think, more as a conditioning fitness session.
I don't think we showed anything really of our hand of what potentially we're working on, and people go, it's the same as last year. Well, if you're saying it's the same as last year, are you saying that Lee Breers and Eamon O'Carroll have done absolutely nothing with us? Because they're essentially running the attack and the defence, so you can't blame it on Paul Wellens when he's stood back on pretty much on the sideline watching and assessing his players while he's got an attacking defence coach. But equally, when we do well this year, it isn't on them. It's just on them. It's their coaching team. I'm fairly confident things will be a lot brighter than last year.
The noisy few who always blame Lauren Fraser now, I wonder if our attack doesn't click, if they'll be going after Lee Breers or Paul Wellens on this one. I doubt they'll go after Lee Breers on it. But yeah, as you say, I think what I've said in the past about not everything's going to just click straight away, and all the ideas aren't just going to come flooding in, and we're going to be playing Ian Millwood style rugby, Harlem Globetrotters, and doesn't matter if you score 40 because we're going to score 50. It's not just going to work like that straight off. Players have got to get used to new systems, they've got to get used to new ways of doing things. They need to pick it up quickly, because we can't have it in 3 weeks' time that we're putting something like that in again. There needs to be that reaction, and in the first couple of games of the season, as we always say, you win 6-7 of them first 8 games, you're thinking, doing all right, aren't we? And all the hubbub kind of calms down. I don't expect us to be necessarily fluid, but I expect a lot more from us when we get to Super League Round 1.
Right, done and dusted. Keep with us over the next couple of weeks for our player previews, and we'll build up to the WEC Challenge Cup game at West Hull, where Kyle Felt is going to be trying to slide in the corner, avoiding the dog poo. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Catch you soon.